So here we go with part 2 of the audio presentation on painting. We left off with this realism, this realistic painting done in acrylic. Now acrylic paints are interesting in that they do dry much quicker than oil paintings generally, but also their colors, some artists really find them to look a little bit more, I don't know, artificial. The colors themselves look more synthetic. But you can see that the artist here has really made use of that and done a wonderful job with just yellows and blues, creating this realistic painting of glass. I want you to notice the interesting perspective, how 3 of the 5 glasses really go off the page. This is the artist's conscious choice to make some really interesting patterns and to present this in a little bit less traditional way. Speaking of less traditional, here's another use of portraits with the artist using a lot of drips and painting very thinly. With acrylics, you can really paint either thin or thick. Some people use a medium to make it very thick, and some people, like here, like is done here, use it almost like watercolor. Now here's an interesting way to use acrylic paints, isn't it now? This is an artist in your book, Linda, I can't remember her name. Bengali is her name. And she actually just kind of is really into pouring paint. So here we have her at work. Oh, Linda Bengalis is who it is. And in the book, she's making a painting on the floor. Here's a painting that's a pile of painting. But I think the whole point is that a painting does not have to be a canvas painted and stuck to the wall. But, you know, it's all in how you look at it. Here's the artist Catherine Gross, who's kind of moved well beyond painting into installation. Now in the book they have a picture of her piling up canvases, and I think that's part of this installation, but there's more to it than that. So, you know, I think that's probably taking it to quite an extreme. But really, the definition of painting is broad enough that it can cover house painting, it can cover this. And, you know, in the book, they also bring mosaic into the picture. Now, mosaic is the placing of tiny tiles or pieces of glass using a fixed and adherent. So you stick it to something, stick your mosaic or your piece of glass to a surface, and you create a painting. Now, what's so beautiful about this particular example is it's from the medieval times. It's from about 785 AD, and yet it's a secular theme. Almost all the art that we have remaining from Europe at this time has a very strong Christian theme, and yet this one has a very loving theme of sort of, they call it filial piety, I think, because the cranes were supposed to stay with one mate their whole life, and here's a crane feeding its little crane children. So there you go. Now here's another mosaic that I found quite beautiful, and I don't know the artist of this, but it's after a work by the artist Gustav Klimt. He's a wonderful artist. If you want to look him up, Klimt. I think we've looked at him perhaps a little bit this semester already. So the last medium that we're going to look at that relates to painting is tapestry. And that's really painting with colored thread. This particular one is from the 1800s in India, and I wanted to bring it in because it is truly a fine example of the art of tapestry. And here we have a modern tapestry, and you can see how the fabric itself really sets a mood. So this sums up our lecture on painting, and basically, to sum it up, painting can be done with a variety of substances. I mean, we can think of the cave painting. We can think about Jackson Pollock, who also sort of threw paint on the ground. There's so much variety within the overview of the term painting that really the sky's the limit. So maybe after seeing all of this work, some of you are going to feel inspired to try some paintings of your own. Thanks for listening.